Welcome to Living Chronic, the podcast that explores the realities of living with chronic illness and disability while redefining how we thrive in our personal and professional lives. I'm your host, Brandy Shantz, a disabled veteran and chronic illness warrior, here to discuss the challenges, triumphs, and untapped potential of life with a chronic condition. Before we dive in, please take a minute to hit the subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening. Now, let's change the way we think about disability together. Hi, this is Brandy Shantz, and you're listening to Living Chronic. Today, I'm here with Mamelo. She is coming with us to us from South Africa. She is a lupus patient and chronic illness warrior. So, welcome, Mamelo.
Thank you very much, Brandy, and thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
So, when you told me your story about getting a diagnosis, it sounded so familiar. I've spoken to so many people around the world on this podcast, and we all seem to have very similar stories. You really have to fight to get a diagnosis, and it takes some work. So, tell me a little bit about your diagnosis and how you finally got there.
I actually got sick in February, the 1st of February, but I only got a diagnosis sometime in April. So it took about six specialists and six hospital admissions to get a diagnosis. So, like you say, it is really a struggle because you have to advocate for yourself. You have to fight. You have to ask questions for you to be diagnosed properly. So, it is a journey, a painful journey at that. So, yeah, that's how long it took for me to be diagnosed.
I'm so happy you finally got your diagnosis. It's so hard. And I know I've often been congratulated on getting mine in only 4 years. So I think that says a lot about the journey so many people take to finally get a
Yeah.
diagnosis. When you were diagnosed, like many of us, you were obviously too sick to do much of anything. That's usually how this works. We have symptoms, maybe, you have an idea something might be wrong with you, but you keep moving forward. And it's not until we get really sick that things start to move forward and you really start to get to that diagnosis.
Mm.
So you were out of work for quite a while. And one thing that you really had going for you was a great boss who advocated for you.
Definitely, Brandy, definitely. I was off work for the whole of 2024. So luckily, the dean of the faculty that I work at the University of the Free State in South Africa. Luckily, he knew someone who had lupus. He knew how it works. So he really advocated for me with the recommendation of the kidney specialist to say she needs to be off work. And I'm forever grateful for that because obviously, when you do get sick, you get worried about your job. You're thinking, am I going to lose my job? And I need this income because hospital bills are
Mhm.
also following you while you're at it. So I am really grateful for my boss. I'm really grateful.
Yes. Yeah, I wish that, I wish your boss could just do a big training class for everybody because it's so important. We lose so many really great people from the workforce to chronic illness. And of course, for those of us going through chronic illness, doctors always telling us reduce your stress, reduce your stress. And that's really difficult when you're scared and not knowing if you're going to be able to keep your job because you're always in the hospital or always at home sick or going to a million doctor's appointments. So having a great boss is such a big deal.
It is, and I'm forever grateful, Brandy. I don't want to lie. I always tell him when I meet him in the corridors, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. So I'm grateful for him. Yeah.
Yeah, what a great person. Since you were diagnosed, you very quickly jumped up and became an advocate, and you used your Instagram to help people to understand what is lupus because so many people don't know what lupus is. What does that mean for you as a patient? What does it mean to your friends, your family? What inspired you to become an advocate so quickly?
Um, I was actually inspired by my own journey on how I actually struggled to get a diagnosis. And even after being diagnosed, how I struggled with knowing what lupus is because there was no information about lupus in my circle or in where I wanted to go, where I wanted to look for information. Nobody knew what lupus is. Nobody talked about it. It was just a struggle. I literally had to go do my own research to read and know about lupus. So I advocated for that to say,
Mhm.
listen, I need this. If when I was diagnosed, there was something like an awareness that I could go to, people that I can talk to, we discuss our fears, we discuss what's going on. That could have been great. So then I decided, let me just make an awareness group and just teach people about this sickness, this autoimmune. Because even when you say you have an autoimmune disease, people don't know what an autoimmune disease is. You still need to explain what autoimmune. Now you come again with another word, lupus, then they still don't know what
No.
lupus is exactly. So I just decided, let me just take it upon myself just to teach people about this disease that we are going through and that so many people are going through. So I think that was the direction that I was taking when I started the group or the awareness page on Instagram, and it also went into TikTok, and it also went into Facebook on my Facebook account. So that's where I'm at right now.
It's so great because so many people maybe they have heard of lupus, but they don't know all the things that you may go through.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important, especially for the people who are closest to us, our loved ones, our
Mhm.
coworkers, our friends, so they can understand that maybe you're not showing up somewhere for a good reason. Maybe you're not going for that long walk or hike with friends because your body just can't handle it, or you're not able to, spend all day long outside. Sharing these kinds of symptoms really does help our friends and family to understand why we sometimes do what we do, because I think it's difficult to explain that sometimes.
It is, Wendy. Talking about friends that don't understand, even family members. I remember this one time when I was actually meant to meet with my friend for lunch. It was a bit, it wasn't that hot. The sun wasn't that really out, but the sun was out. So I'm there putting on my sunscreen, even carrying an umbrella. And then she
Mhm.
was like, why are you carrying an umbrella? It's not that hard. So I had to explain to her, no, because I have lupus, one, two, three needs to happen. I always need to have my sunscreen on. I need to have an umbrella or a hat. So talking about it, like
Mhm.
you say, it actually makes people aware of what you're going through, and then they can just understand why you're doing things the way that you are, and you're not doing them the way that you used to do them anymore. So actually, I've also noticed talking about it makes it easier for me, and it also makes it easier for my friends and my family to accommodate me. So I think the awareness is actually winning now because people
Mhm.
understand more what I'm going through. You get. So yeah.
Yeah, and it just kind of sets expectations too. Sometimes people may not understand the whys, but just setting the expectations that, what, maybe one day I'm good, but another day I'm not. Or the expectation, if we're going to do something outside, I need some cover. I need an umbrella. I need a porch with an
Yeah.
overhang. I need something to protect me from the sun. And those little things are
Mm.
so important to helping us live a normal life without always having to ask over and over again, well, can we move this inside, or can we go to this little place underneath the awning?
I think now they can accommodate me. Obviously, there are times when I feel better. I'll be like, ah, it's fine. You don't have to. I already have my little umbrella or a little brim hat that helps me. But most of the time, they will ask me first, are you sure? Are you comfortable?
Mhm.
We want to make it more comfortable for you because the flare ups are no child's play. Because the next day I will wake up swollen, painful.
Yeah.
So I think I'm blessed to have a supportive circle, supportive family, supportive friends that will always want to check out on me first if whatever we want to do will suit me or not. So I think I'm kind of blessed with that, and I'm grateful for that. I am.
Yeah, having a support network is probably one of the most important things in being chronically ill. You need that support network.
You do. You do.
Yeah, I think that's always one of the first things I say to people when they're first diagnosed. Get your support network. Surround yourself with the people who are going to care for you and help you, because it's difficult. It's almost impossible to do this alone.
And when you are an independent person, I don't even want to say just women because men can also get lupus. But if you are that independent person, it gets quite
Yeah.
difficult sometimes to
Yeah.
ask for help. You get, but I always tell people that even if you don't go to, there's always those
Mhm.
small groups, lupus groups, support groups. Even if you don't go to the ones in your area where people might know you, even if you just attend one that no one knows you, but just get that support because honestly, support support makes a huge difference, because when you are fighting this alone, you are thinking so many things. Am I going to make it? My kids, all those stuff. But if you have a support group of people that are already going through this, or that already know your symptoms, I think that works quite well. Because I know there was a time before I got this support that I got, I was literally thinking the worst. You get, I was literally thinking the worst, especially when they couldn't diagnose me. At that time, I think I was at my worst, because why am I swollen? Why am I in this state and no one is helping me? No one
Mhm.
is talking about it. But eventually, when I was diagnosed and I created a smaller and a group of awareness, that's when I think my mindset also changed to say, okay, I'm not alone. There are some people that also get it, and this is how they've been living. So I think support is really
Mhm.
great. Support is needed for any autoimmune disease. Support is generally needed.
Absolutely. And what a great example. You talking about being surrounded by friends and family and having a great boss who could get out there and advocate for you. These are so important. We need that everywhere. If we can just get as many people as possible to understand that that kind of advocacy is what helps us to grow. It's what helps us to, become something that looks like our regular old normal selves, because we just can't do it alone. I don't care how independent and driven we were before our diagnosis.
That is true. You can't do this alone. You cannot. And the support that we need, it doesn't even have to just be financially, because yeah, financially we go through a lot with medical bills following you wherever you go. But it can be just someone over the
Hmm.
phone, writing you a letter, writing you an SMS, checking up on
Yes.
you to say, are you good? How did you wake up today? So support comes in a lot of form and shape, but we appreciate and we want all the support we can get, because we need it. We really do need it.
Yeah, it's super important. So you have some great messages on your Instagram account. Tell me the stuff you really want people to learn and keep in mind and know, about you, other people with lupus, and what it's like living with chronic illness.
I think the most thing that I want people to learn about people living with chronic illness. We are not lazy. I've noticed the reason why I'm specifically talking about that one. I've
Hmm.
noticed that most of the time people will assume that you are lazy. You don't want to do stuff, but they are not aware that actually we have to listen to our bodies. If
Right.
our body tells you that today is not the day, it is not the day. We need to listen to it. We need to obey, or else the flare ups that are going to come after that, it's not going to be nice. So, a typical example, at home, my mom used to like saying, you are lazy, you don't want to cook, you're always sleeping. And I had to sit her down and explain to her, it's not about laziness. It's how it is at the present moment. I'm not the same person as I was before I was diagnosed with lupus. Right now it's a whole total new world for me. So that is the main one, because people will say, oh, you don't want to come to work, or you don't want to go out with us. You don't want to do this. You want to sleep all the time. You've just been lazy. We are not being lazy. We are just adjusting to how we are living at the moment.
Hmm.
I think that's the main issue that I had personally, that I want people to know, that it's not about laziness, guys. It's not about laziness. So, yeah.
No, that's the truth. I swear, it sounds crazy. I used to wake up at 4 a.m. every morning for years. 4 a.m., go for my run or my bike, go for a swim, do my reading, straight to work. And, you know, when I first started really going through this, and I realized that I was not functional unless I slept in until at least 6 o'clock, maybe 6:30.
Mhm.
It was a shock to me. I didn't even understand it.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, that's my new capability.
Mhm.
I can no longer wake up at 4 a.m. It's just, I mean, not if you want me to do anything. I can wake up, but I'm just going to sit there.
That's about it. And another thing also, what I've noticed, we will make plans, right? We'll make plans that, okay, at a certain date we'll do one, two, three, and then that day when it comes, I can't do nothing. I can't even go out of the house or get out of my bed, and then it becomes a struggle that we always making plans, you always canceling. And they need to learn. That's my body. That's how it reacts. So I just need to follow it and listen to it if I want to be better. I will just need to listen to it. That's all we can do.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I'm still hopeful that maybe we can get some better treatments. Maybe
Mhm.
we can learn more to better predict these things. Maybe we can find a cure in our lifetime
Mm.
if we're really lucky. But, the truth is, as confused as everyone else is as to why we're so healthy on Monday and can't do anything on Tuesday, we're just as confused, folks. I'll never get used to it. I will never get used to it.
Same here. Same here.
I want to plan so bad. It's in my nature. But
Same here.
oh, that's the takeaway. Just as confusing for us folks. So finally, what real advice would you give somebody who is just diagnosed and doesn't know what to do next?
I think I always tell people don't panic. Obviously, if there's something that's wrong with you and doctors cannot
Mhm,
find out what's wrong with you, you panic. And then they diagnose you with a word that you've maybe heard, but you don't
mhm,
know what's going on, you panic. And I've noticed that stress for me, if I stress a lot, I become more sick. So I always tell people, do not panic, you know. Uh, Visit regularly
mhm,
your doctors. Go to your doctors, visit regularly. Listen to everything that they tell you. For the time being, do not even listen to others outside that say, no, don't drink your meds. Try something like this. Don't do this, do this. Listen, for me, listening to my specialist really, really helped me a lot. So I always tell people that just become and find a support group. Don't be shy about it.
mhm.
Yes, I've noticed some people are very shy. Even in my, there are people that will come into my inbox in Instagram or Facebook to say, I was newly diagnosed, but I'm scared of talking. I don't know what to do. I'm handling this by myself. You really can't. So just find a support group that will help you to navigate this life and just honestly just listen to your doctor. I don't think they will want you to not get better. Yes, you will get advices from people to say, no, don't drink meds. Meds will make you worse. Rather do this, doing that. But for me, I would like to suggest that please do listen to your doctor. Please find a support group. Please stop stressing. I know it's not easy. It's easier said than done, but please just try by all means. Just try to be stress free
Mhm.
and just take it easy one day at a time. Yes, sometimes the flares will come up and then you don't know what you ate, what you did,
Th
what happened, you guys. But eventually, when the meds have already gotten used to your system or your body system has already gotten used to the meds, I think you will get better. But for anything, I've always tell my people on Instagram or Facebook on my social platforms, I always tell them if you have something, a question, I'm not saying I'm a doctor, I'm not a doctor, but I can help you with my personal journey, how it has helped me. So if you don't have a support group, come to me, come to my inbox. Let's talk about it. I even have some people on my WhatsApp that I've never met, but they're on my WhatsApp.
Mhm.
We talk on WhatsApp, we give each other advices and stuff like that. So I think my main thing is just take it one step at a time. Do not stress, do not panic. Take it one step at a time, and eventually you'll get there. You will definitely get there.
Yeah. That's good advice because it is so stressful in the beginning. It is easy to panic.
Mhm.
And there's so many people out there, whether there be friends of yours, coworkers, acquaintances, or the endless internet with suggestions on what you should or shouldn't be doing.
Mhm.
And establishing that relationship with your doctor, your specialist, and working through your treatment plan with that person is really important. I think that's great advice.
No, thank you. I've noticed that the minute when okay, I don't know about your culture here in South Africa, the black culture, when the doctor can't find out what's wrong with you, the next thing that people would think is that you are bewitched, right? Someone is bewitching you. So now you will go to a traditional doctor too.
Oh, goodness. Oh,
And you'll go to a traditional doctor and then they will start giving you this
well,
concoction. So don't listen to that. Go to the medical doctor.
funny you bring that up because in our culture, people won't think you're bewitched, but they will think that you have eaten something, probably gluten, that has caused this. And they will have every herbal remedy in the world to send over to you. And something starts with, were you eating gluten? As if gluten. must have caused all of these problems in me clearly. It's
So you see how these cultures
the
meet.
cultures are different,
Exactly.
the people are the same.
So yeah, just listen to your doctor. Leave the other advices.
You know what? It's frustrating, and I always just listen to the doctor. The one that says MD, maybe even DO, those are good
Exactly.
too. Nurse practitioners, somebody. Yes, it is very interesting. I always say to people, yes, eating well does help you to feel better. That is
Yeah.
true, but believe me, if I could get rid of my Crohn's disease, the drug-induced
Oh,
lupus, the dysautonomia by cutting out gluten, oh,
we'll,
I'd be
we'll all
I'd be
be
healthy as anything
we'll
right
all
now
be
because
healthy. We'll all be
I
healthy.
can eat a better diet all day long. Mm, yes,
Oh my word.
I love it. Different cultures, same
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
We all go through the same stuff. Um, that is the truth. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been a really great show and a lot of fun. We'll definitely have to have you back on again. You're still newly diagnosed, so I'd love to hear more about what's going on 6 months to a year from
Mhm.
now and how you've been building your new life as a person living with lupus.
Thank you very much, Brenda. I really enjoyed my time here. And remember, I told you I've never been on a podcast before, so my nerves were a little bit all over, but this was the most fun I've had talking to a stranger.
Oh,
So thank you very much for the invite.
no, thank you for coming on. We always try to have fun here. That's what Living Chronic's about, fun. We're not that podcast that's not fun. That's never our goal.
I'm glad.
So I'm glad you came on. Thank you so much. And we'd love to have you back again.
I will definitely be back, Wendy. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this platform. So thank you very, very much.
That's a wrap for this episode of Living Chronic. I hope today's conversation gave you insight, inspiration, or at least a little reassurance that you're not alone on this journey. Living with a chronic illness or disability comes with its challenges, but it also comes with strength, resilience, and a community that understands. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. You could follow me on Instagram at Chronically Brandy Shantz, other socials at Brandy Shantz, or my website at brandyshantz.com for more discussions, advocacy updates, and everyday strategies for thriving with a chronic illness. And if you have a topic you'd like to hear about, send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep pushing forward, keep advocating for yourself, and remember, you are more than your diagnosis. You are powerful, you are unstoppable. Thanks for listening to Living Chronic. See you next time.